What's up guys, Alan Morrow here, and today I have 5 studio quick tips for you to help you with your productions. So let's get started. What's up everyone, Alan Morrow here, and welcome to another AM Studios studio tip. Today I just want to show you a little LFO alternative. Now I have Silent open up here with a pad sound playing. Very basic sort of sounding pad. But what I want to show you is obviously Silent has its own LFOs here. But what I just want to show you is there's a bit of a limited amount of parameters you've got here. So in Logic, as an alternative, what they have over here is what's called a MIDI effect. And you can go to a modulator here. Now, if you just open this up, what you'll see here is this moving around. Now, this is the LFO for Logic. Now, this is like triggered by the MIDI. So what you can do with this is you can go in and go to this section here. It says mod wheel. Now what you do is you click on here and you go learn plugin parameter. Now the next thing you want to click is the parameter that you want for it to change. So for example, let's just start off with, for example, cutoff. I know you've got the cutoff in here, but this is also very good for those that like to see visual things changing, you know. So if I just go to here and click cutoff, you'll be able to hear if I play this now. So you can hear it changing, but you can visually see, this is the difference with this modulator, you can visually see the parameter actually being changed. So what I want to do now, if we just go, you can go in and change the different shapes. So you can change the timing of it. And you can then see this parameter changing here. Now, your output level is just the same as these. So you've got your output level is how much you want it to change by. So just a tiny little amount. And then you've got your offset as to where it sits along that dial. So you can then change this as well from, like, you know, 1 bar, 2 bars, whatever you want. Visually see it change, which is great. You can then go in and change all different parameters in this. What I love about this is the way you can visually see it happening. So you can really, you know, give some movement to your sounds that way. Now, obviously, that's your cut off. You can do that with this. I already know that. But what's good about this is you can then change different parameters for this. For example, so if I now go, for example, hit on here, click learn parameter, I might want to do, for example, the attack. So I can then come in here, change this a sec, and I can have the attack moving. So obviously that is changing that there. Now, obviously different parameters are going to have different effects and stuff, and more obvious than others, but you could also go in, for example, and change phaser. Now let's just change this again. So you click here, learn plugin parameter, click on the wet and dry of the phaser, for example. Let's change the speed. Let's try. You can obviously change to the hertz as well. you can get some real cool, nice movement sounds out of pads, plucks, whatever sound you want to use. But the other beauty of this is you can then use it obviously in any VST of your own, whether it's, you know, Spire, Diva, anything like that. But the other good thing about this is you can then as well do it on other, it doesn't just have to be a synth, it can be anything. So for example, let's go to distortion, let's click phase distortion. I'm just going to click any parameter basically, and let's change this to mix for this one. Click the mix on here. Now that one doesn't sound too great, but you get the idea. Let's have a little look at what else there is. Let's have a little look. Let's just try something totally different, like amps and pedals. Let's click on, I don't know, where are we? Is there a reverb in here? Let's put a reverb in actually instead. Let's see what we can change here. So you could change the wetness of this, for example. Let's just pick a preset. Warped effects, textures. Let's try that one. There we go. Select parameter. Click wet. And now let's change the offset a bit. Change the speed. So you get the idea. You can get some real movement and get really creative with this, and you can visually see it. So yeah, if you want any more tips like that, guys, be sure to check out the videos and the tutorials on the website. There's plenty more stuff like this in the videos, but I thought I'd just give you, for any of you that didn't know this, some of you will already know this for Logic users, there may be an alternative for your other DAWs like FL Studio and stuff like that. But yeah, real cool little trick, and be sure to check out any others on the website, and also subscribe to the YouTube channel. Cheers guys, I'll see you in the next video. What's up guys, Alan Morrow here, hope you're all well. Today I'm just working on this track I'm working on, and I'm just wanting to clean up certain sections of it a little bit, clean up the mix down, get a little bit tighter, give some of the other elements some room to breathe and stuff. So I just thought I'd show you this little trick that I do a lot in tracks, where for certain sections like the intro and stuff. So if I just give you a little listen to what I'm working on at the moment. Okay, so it's not finished at the moment, but this area, what can happen is it can get quite busy. So I've already actually done it, but what I'm going to show you is certain elements. So as you start to come into this section, you'll find there's a lot of elements in there. You know, you want the drive and stuff, but what you'll notice here is certain elements can clash with each other. Now you'll notice on this section here, I've taken away this bass sound because I feel like this bass was when it was playing in the actual track itself, it was getting a little bit messy, and I don't feel like it was really needed at that point, because then the main focus was directed to this intro plug here. So the ear is now concentrating on that and not this background stab. So if I can clear up some space for this intro plug with and by removing an element that isn't really needed, then I can do that there, and the listener won't even notice that that's not there. The mix will just sound cleaner. So I've removed that there. Now the next thing you can do, and I do a lot, is with elements that you still want in the track. For example, like, you know, there might be certain elements that keep in the drive in that section, so you don't want to necessarily get rid of them entirely, but what you want to do is sort of decide which element is more important. So with this section here, it's the intro pluck. But another element that was sort of clashing with it a little bit, but was still important because it adds a lot of drive to it, is this acid. So if I was to completely remove that, if I just play it with it, you know, it's an important part of that section there. It's really keeping the drive and stuff. So what was happening is it was getting in the way of this intro pluck. So if I just play them together, I'm just going to turn this off, and I'll explain to you what's actually happening in a second. So what I've got here is two elements that are sort of clashing a little bit. So what I've done here is I have side-chained. So what you got to do is decide which element is more important. So I've side-chained this acid to this intro pluck. So when this intro pluck plays at these sections, if I just turn this compressor on, side-chain it over here to the intro pluck, so the acid is ducking now to that intro pluck when that intro pluck plays. So you'll see here. So rather than side-chaining to a kick that most people normally do, you're side-chaining a sound to another sound. And that way then, it just, if you listen to the difference when I turn it on, it just slightly ducking when this pluck hits, which is just making that acid sit a little bit further back in the mix just when this is playing. So this is with it off. It just stops it getting away with itself really, and just sits behind there nicely. Now what you'll notice is this acid plays earlier on in the track. Now what you'll find is that it's not actually side-chaining at this point, because it doesn't need to, because that intro pluck isn't playing. But when the intro pluck comes in at this section, you just keep your eye on this. Now you can't notice any difference with the acid changing or it ducking or anything like that, because this is then playing. Once that then stops playing, the compressor will stop triggering. So this is a really cool trick just to help clean up your mix a little bit, guys, for those elements that are clashing with each other. Now when it comes to compressor settings, I don't want any makeup gain or anything like that. I want a fast attack and fast release, because I just want it coming in and out quickly when the trigger hits. And I'm just ducking it a little bit. Now obviously it depends on the sound that you're using and how much of a threshold you want. Just have a play around with it and see which works best for your two sounds playing together. But this is definitely a good trick to clean up those busy sections of the track. So I'll just play it all together once more, and I'll turn the compressor off so you can sort of hear the difference with that pluck. Just cleans everything up and tightens it all up, which will definitely help you with your mix downs. So I hope you've enjoyed this tip and trick. If you want any more, the tutorials on the website are full of stuff like this, and also please subscribe to the YouTube channel for more tips and tricks. Cheers guys, I'll see you in the next one. What's up guys, Alan Morrow here, hope you're all well. Just in the studio here, and I just wanted to show you guys a little quick tip that I do for extracting art patterns from, for example, presets that you might have found. So you might find a preset that you like the pattern of but not quite like the sound. So just want to show you quickly what I can do, or what anyone with a Logic, or I think you can do in Ableton, or anything where you can extract the MIDI from audio. So some of you might know this, some of you might not. So I'm just going to quickly show you what I do when I come to do it. So I've got just a single note here, sustained note, and I have an ARP here. This is just from mine and Bluff Monkey's sample pack, sorry, preset pack. So if I just go and find an ARP here, so I'll find one that I like. So I've got an ARP here, and let's have a little watch. Let's choose this one for example. Now what I want to do is I want to take all the presets off here. Sorry, not the presets, all the effects, and make it as dry sounding as possible. Then what I want to do is just bounce that in place. So what I have now is the audio file, as dry as it can possibly be. Now what I want to do is just come down to this little flex here, turn on flex, so it'll chop it all up here. Now what I want to do is go over to this and go to flex pitch. Now what you'll see here is it's created some MIDI from this audio file. And what I want to do now is just want to select all the notes, because you can see some of them have moved slightly out of the pitch. So if I just select all here, Command all, pitch correction, it'll bring them all back in. Now what I want to do is just go to edit, and if I just go to create MIDI track from flex pitch data. So what you can see I've got here now is it's just created that MIDI pattern from that audio file. So what you can then do if you want is select all again, quantize it to the 16th note, because it'll sometimes, you know, move and not be on the beat, but it's entirely up to yourself. So you've now got this MIDI pattern to then play with whatever sort of preset you want, or your own plucks that you've created or whatever. So I've just got a pluck here. And obviously you'll find the odd stray note. Well, not really stray note, but you know, if I just bring this one up. So you can then obviously pick a sound for that pattern, or you know, got an acid sound here you might want to use it with. So another thing you can do is obviously pick a section of it, find little riffs through it. It's just a good little way to get like new sounds if you're struggling, or you know, a bit stuck in the loop. So a little look over here. You know, nice big tension building plucks or whatever. So a little look. So let's just quickly go over that again. I'll choose a different sound this time. So again, go in, pick an ARP. Let's see what else we've got. Now the best way to do this is obviously take off all the delays and reverbs and stuff. You want it as dry as possible. So I'll just go over here, get rid of that a second. So bounce that in place, and then with this audio file again, just turn on flex. So that's turned on. Flex pitch. All the notes, I always just pitch correct it anyway, so it moves it there. Edit, create MIDI track from flex pitch data, and then so I've got a nice little pattern. And then let's go and pick another pluck sound for it. Bring this down a little bit. See what else we've got. And then there you have it, a nice little pattern that you can go in, you know, change if you want. Go in and change it however you want, really. Again, pick sections of it that you want. It's all about getting creative with it. So yeah, if you do find an art pattern that you like inside a preset and you want to use it, or you want to get creative with it, you know, change it up a little bit, this is how I do it. So yeah, if you're looking for any more tips and tricks like this, there's plenty of them inside all the tutorials at alanmorrisstudios.com. So be sure to check them out, and I'll see you in the next quick tip, guys. Thanks a lot for watching. What's up guys, Alan Morrow here and I hope you're all well. Welcome to another studio quick tip at AM Studios. Today we're going to be looking at sort of like random intro plucks. Now when I say random, what I mean is for anyone that struggles to get sort of patterns and stuff down for their intro plucks, I found a little way that you can use to sort of help yourself. You don't need to know how to play the piano, all you basically need to know is hit the notes that are in the scale. Now what I've got here is you'll see I've got a little kick and bass bounce that I've got from a track that I've been working on. Now that track is in G flat minor, so what I'm going to be doing is I'm going to be bashing away at the G flat minor scale on my piano. If any of you that haven't got a scale chart, or you don't know scales, then I would suggest you download something like this from the internet. You can just get them from Google. Just type in piano G, minor scales. I've got this printed out on my desk in the studio to always remind me of the scales. Now if you look at this G flat minor down at the bottom, I can use all of these different notes here. So I'm literally just going to be bashing away at these notes in random, just in a random way. No sort of like, pattern to them or anything like that, just hitting away at them randomly. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you what I'm going to do with it. So if I just drag that out of the way. Now this is just a pluck. Now ignore the sound that I'm using, guys. This isn't about the sound being mixed properly with the kick and bass. This is all about getting patterns and stuff. So all I've done is just basically picked a pluck from our Mine and Bluff Monkeys Tech Trance Essentials Silent Pack. If you do want to grab a copy of that, it's on the website. But all it is just basically a sound that I can use to create the plucks for this kick and bass. So anyway, let's get started. So I'm just going to hit record, and I'm just going to be randomly hitting away at these notes. So let's have a little go. I'm just going to pull this out. So let's have a look. So here we go. Let's just hit record. And again, I'm going to be doing some faster, some slower. It's just going to be really random, and then I'll show you what you can pull from it. So record. Oh. Okay, so what I've just done there is been hitting random notes. As I say, this isn't. I'm not very good at playing the piano or anything like that. But for any of you that do struggle with this sort of stuff, this is great for this sort of thing. So let's just have a little look. I think I hit a few off notes there. Let's just have a little look where we are. So again, really random notes, playing different notes there. Now, one thing that is going to happen is these are going to be slightly off the beat. So I'm just going to quantize this to the 16th. So the next thing I just want to do is one of them definitely was off key, so I'm just gonna, I think it was this one. Yep, them two there. They're not in the scale, so just make sure that they're in the scale. If I just drag this and then pull this over here, you'll see if some of them fall out of the scale, just drag them back in. So you'll see here, we've got a mixture of all of them really playing inside there. So what I can now do is pick a bar. Now, if I just go and pick any random bar, I might have some little cool grooves in here. Now, some of them, they're all going to be slightly different. So you got yourself there some sort of nice sort of counter plucks for your intros, or you could use a couple of them against each other. So I'm just going to show you that in a second, but let's have a little listen to some others. You've got other ones that are a little bit. So any of these you can use. So as I say, I've just been bashing away there, not even thinking about the groove or anything, and now I've got all these. Let's have a little look. So what you can then do is have this at the start of, say, your project, and then when you come to you know, creating your intro plucks, for example, you can just then come in and find some that work. So if I just cut out, for example, this one, so a little play. So, you know, this can then come in. You can, if you want to, you could mix it up a little bit. So, for example, if let's say we repeated it, and then on the 4th bar, you could do things like that. And the next thing you could do is have another one, grab another one from there. Again, I'm just picking them randomly, guys. You'd obviously go in and be a bit more picky with what you're using, but this is just for the purpose of this quick tutorial. So grab another one. Let's duplicate the channel. Drag that over there, loop that. So these are now playing 2 different ones. Now what I'm just going to do with this one is pick a slightly different contrasting sound just so you can hear them a bit better. Let's drop it down. So you then got 2 working together. As I say, guys, this isn't about the sound choice, but you then have multiple different options from the start of this. So yeah, I hope that helps you getting some groove in your intro plucks and stuff. And yeah, thanks a lot for tuning in. If you wish to watch some more tutorials really in depth with other tricks like this, then be sure to check them out on the website. That's www.alanmorrowstudios.com. There's plenty of videos there for everything like mixdown, kick and bass, melody writing, everything you can think of when it comes to trance. So be sure to check that out, guys, and thanks a lot for watching. What's up, guys? Alan Morrow here, and I hope you're all well. Today I just want to go over a question that I get asked quite a lot from my clients, and that is, where do I cut my mid bass? Now, I feel that when I get asked this question, they're wanting some sort of exact answer for every track. Now, it doesn't really work like that because it all depends on what you've got playing in the track at the time. So, for example, when I'm doing my kick and bass, I will have my kick, my sub, and my mid, and I'll have my mid bass tie and knit in nicely with my sub bass. Now, if I was to give you an exact figure of, say, 250 hertz, for example, oh yeah, always cut your mid bass at 250 hertz. For example, if I just get this mid bass here, this is just for the example of this tutorial, guys, as I've not mixed it properly or anything like that yet. It's just to show you what I mean. If I was to say cut it around 250 hertz all the time, that's around 250 hertz. Give it a bit of a steeper thing there. So 250 hertz, just to show you exactly what I mean and make it a little bit more obvious. So I've got that there. Cut my mid bass at 250 hertz. Now, if you were to do that on every track, but on one track your sub bass, for example, was really low down, like this, and it's just a low rumble. Let's play these together. You're gonna have a frequency range here where it's going to be missing sort of the frequencies, you know. So how I like to look at bass and any sort of EQing is always EQ depending on what is playing in the track. For example, my sub bass might cover these sort of frequencies and have some real low mid frequencies in the sub bass, in which case this isn't going to be able to come right down here as well. What you want to do is you want to be knitting these together so that they sound nice together. So basically you have this frequency range for your mid bass and sub, and you have to just sort of work together. So you might want a little bit more on your mid, for example, low mid, for example, in which case you might have to cut back on your sub. You might want to have really low on your mid bass and go really low on your sub. It's all about just, you know, there's never one set figure. It's all depending on what sound is playing and what you're playing with it. So, you know, it's all about covering all these frequencies. So if I start to slowly, you know, and it's all about getting them nice and knitting together. So that's just something that you just want to think about, guys, when it comes to EQ and stuff. And this is the same for leads or anything like that. You know, you've only got a certain amount of frequencies, and you want whatever's playing in that at that time to work with whatever it is. So, you know, you start to hear, but none of these different options that I'm giving sound, you know, wrong or the right way. You could have, let's play the kick and bass. It's all about getting these sounds, for me, working together. Now, whether that's more high frequencies on my sub bass, for example, like this, and less on my mid, or the other way around, lots on my low mid and really low sub, they'll work together. And that's what it's all about, knitting those two sounds together. So yeah, I just wanted to let you guys know that obviously it might be open up your mind to when you're looking at cutting your mid basses and stuff and always cutting them at the exact same frequency. Just think about it first. It's all about, you have a certain amount of frequencies to work with, and, you know, give and take a little bit on each of them. So I hope you've enjoyed this little tip, and I'll see you in the next one, guys. For any of you that want many more tips like this, be sure to check out the tutorials on the website. And yeah, I'll see you again soon. Cheers, guys. Bye.